Do teachers regret becoming teachers? And what changed in the last 10 years? There's a question floating around online right now. Do you regret going into education? And what's shocking isn't that a few teachers say yes, it's how many. Not because they hate kids, but because they say something changed. 10 years ago felt different. Classrooms felt different. Students felt different. So today we're looking at teachers who regret becoming teachers and asking, is this burnout? Is this Gen Alpha? Is this parenting? Or is this the education system itself? Let's get into it.
Today's my last day of being a teacher. I'm so excited. I just came back from a 4-week FMLA leave and I put in my resignation about 2 weeks in. So this is my last day teaching 4th grade, probably my last day teaching ever. I have an interview lined up on Wednesday for like an office coordinator / assistant job. Very excited for that. So yeah, let me take you along with me on my day. Here's one last look at my classroom this morning. I've had a long-term sub and she's been doing a really awesome job keeping up with my room and doing cool activities. I have a few more minutes before the day starts, but I'm ready for it. We're watching Finding Dory and doing some fun activities, some review, and just saying goodbye. Some tears were definitely shed, but I'm done. My last day of 4th grade, last day of teaching, probably ever. Very exciting.
That's sweet.
Absolutely bawled my eyes out on the way home, but you know what? It's for the best. I got so much in the back of my car, but I left everything that I didn't need, and you know, the kids and the substitute and whoever comes next after me will be able to use it, and that makes me feel much better because there's no point in keeping that stuff in my house if I'm never going to teach again. So oh well. I'm really excited for this next chapter of my life. So if you're looking to quit teaching, do it. I did it mid-year and felt great. So
well, quitting teaching, obviously I'm very happy that it worked for her, but there are millions of teachers out there that if they had something else to go to, they probably would have. So many teachers leave only to come back because everybody needs a job. Here's where nuance matters. She was crying. That often happens after you leave teaching. The kids made her a card. She loves them. But she's relieved. You can love the kids and still leave the job. That tells us the issue may not be children. It may be the structure surrounding the classroom. Let's look at some of the comments. Diane says, we're losing too many teachers. The job market is actually so terrible. I fear I cannot quit. Many teachers feel that way. Why are so many teachers quitting? Is it the behaviors or the discipline has changed? It wasn't this bad when I was a kid. I'm 23 years old. So sad. I'm starting to feel like when I see someone's in their 20s, I kind of feel like, wow, that's still a kid.
Oh, y'all, I feel so sorry for this mama who wrote me this letter. Let's take a look. Dear Snarky, my daughter graduated from college in May and got a job teaching elementary school. She started her job 3 weeks ago. She was so excited all summer decorating her classroom and lesson planning. But just 3 weeks into this job, she wants to quit. She says she hates it, that it's nothing like student teaching, that the teachers act like she's being needy when she approaches them for advice, and that 75% of the kids are disciplinary problems. She added that she cries in her car every day as she drives home from work. My heart is breaking for her, and I feel like she's asking for permission to quit. I don't know what I should tell her. Well, I do. I want to tell her to quit, but I'm afraid that's just because I can't stand the thought of her crying every single day. She said a couple of times she was crying so hard she had to pull her car off the road. No. I'm hoping that there are teachers out there in your comment section that can give me good advice. Does it get better? Is this normal? Is my daughter overreacting? Does she just need to suck it up? Help. Signed, Panicking. Okay. Well, I'm not a teacher, so I'm not the one that should be giving you advice. I will tell you, though, that I've never had a job that I haven't hated 2 weeks in. I mean, it's just hard. It's so new. I mean, you know, you don't know, like, where the restroom is. You don't know procedure. It's just hard. It's just hard. You need to give a job more than 3 weeks.
Isn't enough.
That's what I would tell my job if she
maybe.
called me and said I hate it. You know what? Give it 6 weeks, and then let's talk. That said, she's a teacher, so I feel sorry for the kids if she's not, being a good teacher. But she has to find a mentor. I mean, at her school, talk to the principal, but I don't think you want to tell your boss, I want to quit, I hate this. So I do not know what to tell you, and the only advice I have is comment section come through for me, and that most people don't like their jobs when they first start because it's new, it's different, especially when you're a brand new graduate. It's so new. You're in charge of 20, 30 kids? That would be terrifying for me. So my advice is she needs to give it more time.
This one hurts. A young teacher crying in her car daily, overwhelmed by disciplinary problems. The advice she gets, give it more than 3 weeks. Find a mentor. That advice isn't wrong, but it can feel dismissive when someone is drowning. Early career teachers are entering classrooms that veterans say are harder than ever. The onboarding period used to be hard. Now it's survival mode. Most teachers quit within the first 2 years. We need to find a way to get young teachers to stay in the career. The top comment, the school should have assigned her a mentor. Teaching is tough and she needs a good support system. 36-year teaching veteran here. Sounds like she doesn't have a support system at school. She should absolutely discuss it with her principal and get a mentor. If nothing comes of it, at least she tried. She needs to realize it's not going to be anything like her student teaching because the teacher she was placed with has put in a lot of work before she ever got there. She needs to reach out to that teacher or another mentor for guidance.
At this point, y'all, I just need to start a documentary. There is no way that it's 11:15 and I'm on the brink of tears because I want to go home so bad. These kids are horrible. Horrible. They don't care about learning. The parents don't hold them accountable. They don't make their kids hold themselves accountable. The admin does not hold the parents of the children accountable. They say they hold the kids accountable, but they go to the office and they come back and they do the same thing. It's awful. I have a parent in there with me for some of the kids that have disabilities, like different things. Like, she's in there to support me. She watched me teach a whole lesson. I explicitly taught this lesson. I used all of my resources. The students had studies weeklies out in front of them. I had the article up on the board. We went article by paragraph, we broke it down. I asked them questions about it. We dissected the pictures, the whole nine. I did my job. I'm pausing, asking them questions. If you're a teacher, and you use Studies Weekly, that at the end, they do there's a little quiz just to check for comprehension, right? So we get to that point, y'all, and only my same 5 students could answer the questions. And it was simple things like, who was Benjamin Franklin? Was he a doctor or an inventor? They're saying a doctor. We had to learn, mind you, I teach first grade, but we had to learn the word perseverance because that is one of his character traits. It means don't give up, keep trying. That's how I explained it to them. I asked them, does perseverance mean kindness? All of them but 5 said yes. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else I tell them the sky is blue. What color is the sky? They say red. This is deeper than education. This is deep, baby, don't get me to diagnosing them. And then on our way out the door to lunch, because y'all know I have to leave to lunch or I'm going to spaz. But on our way out the door, one of the kids spit in another kid's face.
No.
Spit. And before that, the same little girl that I made the video on, 2 other of my videos on with the parent, y'all, she's been hitting people all morning. I talked to her at 7:40 about hitting my nonverbal, putting her hands on. She didn't hit him. She grabbed my nonverbal autistic little boy's arm. Why are you touching him? He does not mess with nobody. Why are you touching him?
I think I need to make another video on autism. I mean, it's just skyrocketed, especially in certain states.
Spoke to her about that. Then, on the way to specials at, what time they go? 7:60, 7:46 because I was running late because of that incident. She grabs another one of my autistic students' face. Why are you touching her? Mind you, this little girl has already had a swarm report and been referred to the counselor for a bullying incident on the bus. She hits, she steals, she cusses, and all her mama want to say is she still believes in Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and she not going to change overnight. She a kid. I'm fed up, y'all. I just sent a long email citing the code of conduct in the student and parent handbook, letting my admin know I have exhausted all of my resources. I can't take recess from the little girl because her mama say it's illegal. So what else do you want me to do? And at what point is a suspension going to be given? I've asked for the removal out of my classroom. They won't grant it. So, okay, now I'm going to cite what y'all have in black and white.
I also feel bad for admin because up to a point, their hands are also tied. Politicians are pushing them to get these kids through, to not keep anyone behind. So there aren't consequences to these really bad students not performing or doing things in the classroom.
So now what? They put so much weight and emphasis on the teacher. What about the kids? What about the parents? Like, I can't make a 6-year-old do nothing they don't want to do. Because Lord forbid I put the pencil in their hand and make them write it. Oh, now it's abuse or something. Like, we can't win. We cannot win. Like, I'm about to get my Chick-fil-A and I'm about to go and I'm about to sit at my desk for the rest of the day because I can't teach. I don't know what else you want me to do. I've tried.
This clip hits harder. She describes kids fighting mid-lesson, students stealing, physical aggression, no suspensions. Then parents defend that behavior, everything just falling on the teacher. And here's where the conversation gets serious. When accountability shifts away from the students and parents entirely and toward teachers, burnout accelerates. Teachers aren't just teaching content anymore. They're social workers, therapists, behavior specialists, crisis managers without authority to enforce consequences. That creates helplessness. And helplessness is one of the fastest roads to burnout. Let's look at some of the comments. The first one up here, and everyone has ADHD. There's a huge problem with everyone being described as ADHD or having autism. We have to look into this. Focus on the 5 who care, reward their hard work with your attention and ignore the rest. That's impossible. You've got a few kids that come usually from very good backgrounds, and then you have the large majority of the class being disruptive. Even just a few bad apples can totally change the dynamic of a classroom. That's also why parents want to take their kids out of school and raise them themselves or send them to better schools where you don't have these issues.
Working with children has ruined my passion for working with children. I have worked with children for 7 years. 6 of them were in schools. 1 of them was in a hospital. I have been a substitute teacher. I have been a school counselor. I have been a paraprofessional. I have worked in a hospital with students. I've worked with students at a summer camp. I've worked with children for cheerleading. I've done it all. 10 years ago, when I made the decision that I want to work with children, they were not the way that they are now. iPad kids weren't a thing.
Screens are horrible.
10 years ago. Kids have always lacked impulse control. They talk when they're not really supposed to be talking. They can be a little bit silly. They can have crazy bodies, wiggly. It's just different now. And it's hard to explain to the people who are not also in education because they simply just think, oh, older generations always get annoyed by younger generations. You guys were exactly the same. Like, you guys were just as crazy and annoying and not following the directions. That just simply is not true.
I don't think so either.
There's literal research about this. I've kind of come to my breaking point, and The last couple weeks, I've been really looking inward and thinking about what do I actually want to do with my life. And I definitely still want to work with kids, but I think I just need to take a break. Like elementary school age was truly my passion. I love reading books and singing songs and imagination play and cutesy little things, talking about feelings, talking about big emotions and how to handle all that stuff. I like truly love that. That's what I got my master's degree in. But I don't want to do it anymore. And I haven't even actually started. My goal...
She feels like she hasn't even started, but she's ready to quit. But yeah, she's spent time learning, preparing, and teaching. But
was to be an elementary school counselor. So I've made the decision that I think I'm going to skirt over to high school now. It's just so hard because there's so many different factors at play, but that's a whole other discussion. I could talk about this for 3 hours. I have so much to say. So for context, I work in lower elementary. We have 0 problem-solving skills. There could be a backpack in the path that someone needs to walk, and instead of picking it up, walking around it, they'll start whining that they don't know what to do, like their brain short circuits and they don't know what to do about it. They literally cannot think to just move it out of the way. They step on top of papers that don't belong to them because, well, that's not mine. They are constantly shouting out. They can't stay in their seats. They don't know how to be bored. They don't know how...
Well, I think with rules, kids not being able to stay in their seats or shouting out, it can be solved. But the fact that they have low attention spans, that's something teachers can work on, but ultimately it starts at home.
They don't know how to sit and look up at the teacher when she's giving instructions and actually teaching them something. They don't know how to do that. They don't understand the concept of just sitting there quietly. Like when they finish an assignment, they're like, okay, so I finished, what do I do? Okay, just sit there and wait for the next direction. But I'm done. Okay, so sit there quietly and just wait for the next direction. You can sit there for a couple minutes. So many of them will go through the entire hour-long reading period and not read a single word. They're fiddling with their shoe, they get up and they use 16 tissues, they ask to go to the bathroom, they ask to get a drink, they're doodling on their paper, they're staring.
Actually, I would blame the teacher for this. If you're just telling the kids to sit and read and they don't do that, then you're going to have to try a different strategy, different reading strategy. So I think in this example she gives, I would say that as teachers, we have to step up and find different ways to reach them in this instance. Some of the other examples she gives, I truly agree.
Off into space, they're talking to their neighbor, they're playing with their snack. They can't just sit and do a task. And it's not even just the inability to do work. It's the inability to follow any directions. I will very explicitly say, hey, the directions on this math sheet say to gather items from the room and measure them, but that's going to be too crazy, so we're not going to gather items. I just want you to measure the things that are on the piece of paper. Maybe 30 seconds later, there's a bunch of kids walking around the room gathering stuff. I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Well, it says to do this. I'm like, were you listening to what I just said? We are not gathering things from around the room. Just measure what's on the paper. Oh, okay. 2 minutes later, I see people gathering stuff around the room. I want to rip my hair out. It's hard to say that they're super disrespectful because they're not doing it on purpose, but they are still so disrespectful. I'm not saying that kids should be seen and not heard, but they ask why to everything. Guys, I need you to get your books out. Why? Because it's reading time. Guys, I need you to put your Chromebooks away. Why? Because when time is over and now we're moving on to the next lesson. Guys, I need you to line up. Why? Because it's time for gym and I already gave you a 5-minute warning that gym is soon. We just had to give assigned seats at lunch because there's constant shoving and crying and saving seats and people moving stuff out of the way. Negative consequences do not work in this class. Positive reinforcements in this class do not work. Praising the 1 or 2 kids who are doing what they're supposed to do and giving them special treatment is not motivating the other students. Multiple conversations about the behavior is not working. Making them sit quietly for 10 minutes and do absolutely nothing is not working. Letting them know, hey, this behavior is disrespectful and you need to stop, doesn't work. So I don't know what to do.
Now this video sounds powerful because she doesn't sound angry. She sounds tired. She worked with kids for years, loved elementary school, felt called to do it. Now, she says kids have almost no problem-solving skills, no focus, endless whys without engagement, inability to sustain attention, and here's what's important. She doesn't think they're disrespectful on purpose. That's key. This might not be a discipline issue. It might be a developmental shift. If you look at Gen Alpha, raised on iPads, algorithm-driven dopamine loops, constant stimulation, sustained attention is neurologically harder. Problem solving requires frustration tolerance. Screens remove friction. School requires friction. That mismatch may be what teachers are feeling. Let's look at some of the comments. The top comment, it's completely the parents' fault. Even me being Gen Z, I can see such a huge difference in the way kids grow up now. They don't know how to be bored. My 10-year-old niece told me how she asked her mom to get her a swing for her yard so she can watch YouTube on it. YouTube? You're on a swing. And Elia says here, it's that phone. So is this about Gen Alpha being awful? Probably not that simple. It may be reduced attention spans, increased behavioral needs, decreased consequences, administrative pressure, and social expectations that teachers need to fix everything. In our next video, we're going deeper because some teachers say the real issue isn't kids, it's the system and the toll it takes on mental